It appears eminently constructible, and it is something that's used in Clutha in the South Island, where the river comes into the sea, so it's not a unique thing to New Zealand.
Thank you.
But we think it might make a real difference. Next slide shows you the type of construction. So the black boxes are these eco-cell things. The beauty of these is that what you fill them with is local material. So the shingle locally fills these things rather than bringing the big rocks from Rotorua. There aren't a lot of really good rocks in Hawke's Bay. We have limestone here, but it's quite soft. Most of the rock we'd need to come from Rotorua. It's very expensive. So this is a concept that we think has some legs. It's only a concept at the moment, and I'll let Gary come and talk to it if there are some questions. The next thing we've looked at is Kopu Road and Ngāmutu Road. And Steve, do you want to talk to this? Steve, I'll get Steve Darris, who's the project manager for the Flood Protection Works, to talk to these sites.
Thank you, Lawrence. Kia ora, everybody. So this is one of the tools in the toolbox for flood protection for Wairoa, predominantly around Kopu Road and Ngāmutu. Can't quite see, but the next slide will actually show some more facts and figures. Oh, sorry, just go back one. Just pointing it out, along Kopu Road, it involves a stop bank that goes virtually all the way from Scooters Point, virtually to Pilot Hill. It is significant in size. It's an earthbound, grass-covered stop bank, and it will tie back into the high ground up to Pilot Hill area. We're still doing some work to find out how it can tie back to stop it, the river and the sea from coming in the back of it. On the Ngāmutu side, there's a couple of options to protect the housing there, the Urapas and the marae at the top there. There is still some more work to do, and it's quite challenging because you can imagine you can build a stop bank along Kopu Road, but how do you get rid of the storm water that is behind it and water from a localised event? There's multiple outlets of Wairoa District Council stormwater outlets that go out into the river. There's the wastewater plant outlet, and there's a number of pump stations along there. So next slide, please. So just some facts and figures. So for Kopu Road, it will be built on the road and river reserve. It's approximately 3.4 kilometres long. Tying back into high ground up the top towards Pilot Hill, and the height will range from 0.7 to 3.1 metres, about an average of 2 metres along the length of it. And the width at the base is about 22 metres in order to give us a 3-in-1 backup, and on the top is approximately a 4-metre crest. So that would then allow for the footpaths to be relocated onto the top. Ngāmutu Road, 1 to 2 kilometre long stop bank, ranging in height from 1 to 3 metres. This option may also involve the elevation of some of the houses. It does protect the Urapa and the marae. As I said, we've still got some more work to do to finish the modelling, but it's just a chance to update you on where we're at with this.
Thank you, Steve. So what is happening next? An independent peer review of the Wairoa River mouth groin option is just about to be started. So Gary's done some very good work putting this together, but we're now going to get it checked. Bear in mind, this is a dynamic coastal environment. So we're looking at it in a nice state, but we want to make sure it's going to work, it's going to stay there, all those types of things, and what are the risks of it being damaged. There's going to be further, more detailed refinements and costings of that groin done. And with the Crown funding largely allocated onto North Clyde, funding options will need to be considered further. And I just say that one of the reasons we've brought this work forward on the stop banking option is for option 1C in North Clyde. We have 350,000 cubic metres of material we need to dig out. And rather than burying it in a place, it may be better to use that material to build a stop bank to protect Corporate Road. That's why we've advanced this as we speak. I agree with Steve, it is very complex. Corporate Road, we have pipes, we have stormwater behind it, but the reason we've advanced it now is to understand whether there is any beneficial reuse of the material that I want to see. Additionally, there is going to be quite a big conversation, and this is where we'll need your input and help, is to understand what should be the priority. Is the bar? Is Corporate Road? Is Ngāmutu? Because probably we're not going to be able to do it all, and certainly not all at once. And so this is really the start of a conversation to say, this is what we're looking at. We'll have lots more meetings, both on-site, meetings like this. We may even set up a stakeholder group type meeting so we can actually try and refine it. We don't have the answers at the moment, but I wanted you to be aware that we are looking to try and find you some solutions. At the moment, I'm pretty happy with the changes that have been made to the bar management. That is reducing the immediate risk to low flooding events but incorrectly bar position risk. We still have no protection on a large event, and that's what we're working on with 1C. But the aim is to try and bring you on a journey of what we're trying to look at, get your input on. There's a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge of the lower reach of the river and what happens, and we'd like to hear about that. And tonight is just the first chance of those discussions. So I've got nothing further to say. I'm happy to take any questions, comments or thoughts. Thank you. Say that again, sorry.
You mentioned it takes 5 days to actually open up the bar.
Yeah.
I said, where do you get those stats from?
Yeah, so well, about 5 days is the largest number. It's probably 3 to 5 days, but it's around contacting our contractors. We then have to mobilise equipment to site, and that may not necessarily be right in place from the moment. And then there's also a bit of a track to get in to navigate, and then commence work. And we know there's some pretty significant volumes of material to move. That could quite easily be moving materials for 2 or 3 days. So when you add all that up, we're looking at sort of a 3 to 5 day scenario.
I just wanted to say that I am one of those contractors. I have been doing the management of Wairatuna and the Niaka River mouth for the last 2.5 years. Behind the scenes, the own engineers at Hawkesbury Regional Council, we have the same problem with the dog levy and the Niaka system. Unbeknown to that, we just went quietly with the iwi and did other stuff behind everyone's back. Just got a couple of consents, started doing the management system 6 months ago. Now we've got to actually start governing itself, paying 12.8 and actually working it down from 13.7 to a level. I just trying to find out, when you fellas call us and you enact us to open up these bars, I've never been told 5 days before. I've always educated fellas on what weather's coming up 5 days before, and the tides and the systems, and educating them on how should we do it and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes down to that sort of thing and telling the public it takes 5 days to open, and it takes 6 hours.
So just to clarify, that can be quite clear, rivers like Nuhaka is a totally different story. Essentially,
I have opened the Warrell Bar.
Yeah, number of hours.
I'm just saying that it takes a number of hours, certain time, and that's all it came down to, could have been presented. But what I'm saying, do you know what the actual technical width of an opening bar is for the Warrell Bar?
Consensus is 2 metres.
So I think there's different scenarios we can talk about. So I'm not going to have a debate today about dimensions.
No, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that technically, in the standard eyes of the council, is that 1 metre wide is an opening for the sewage to go out of our river. 1 metre wide. I don't see the sewage flowing that well with a 1 metre wide bar. for them to open up there. So my whole thing is what, and I just say, we should be looking at building, like Lawrence said, if you're going to put the spillway, use the material to put back what was already took out 2 years ago to erect in the first place, because we had a height. I don't know why the council dug it all out in the first place, because then we already had a flood level height when the silt was already there from Gabriel. Now we go back every time raining and clearing our footpaths all the time. But we should be building that wall, using that material to build that wall. You've got less than 5 Ks, which you fellas are trying to hammer through your estimations on your costings on the travel of that spillway is a perfect place. The way you're killing 2 designs with 1 funding. And not only that, but I think that your talk should be actually a bit longer and straighter out towards your red lines, not Pilot Hill. So you're actually saving erosion as well. That's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. Well done.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Mr. White.
It's just so the others can hear.
Thank you, yeah, well, I've got quite a good voice.
Okay.
Thank you. I'd like to especially thank our Hawker Road residents because it really affected them. Gabriel did. Sorry, not Gabriel, the last one. But however, saying that, I've listened to you in your comments with Steve and Gary, and I'm sure that you've got all the experts in one packet. I thought that's, there's nothing more important than local input. And these are the experts. They live it every day. I'm just worried that when you tell everybody that that's the best option, I'm never quite sure whether that's actually that's true. I said to you last night at the Hui at Tier 2 that I looked at option 1 and 2 of that program of yours, and I thought we had a great discussion regards that, which included both sides of the river, Ngāmotu and Corporate Road. And I think one of the attendees said, asked the question, well, he was concerned about the residents of Corporate Road. Here they are. What would they think? And I think one of the attendees said, well, look, if the bar was open out there, in the normal straight out from the river, would they have a problem? And the general consensus was, no, they probably would. They probably wouldn't have got the And yes, granted, we've had high rivers, but never as high as going across the road at Corporate Road. This is the first. And it's not the last. But that's what I'm trying to avoid here, and that's why I say, please, if you're using expertise, and any one of you guys want to go on the river, I'll give you a trip on the river, either raft you on my boat, or we'll walk it, because that's what I've done for years. I've walked it, round the stream. I can tell you every bump and right up that Martungi, right up that straight, and how important it is to keep the bar at the other end. I talked to Lawrence last night, Lawrence, if you recall, about your the funding. I think if we're going to be guided by funding, we're always going to have a problem. I think we've got to address the problem, see the problem, not duck around and put little bits here and there like you're suggesting, a water dead here and a water dead here, because that's what it is. You can put a levee up, but once it breaches, you've got a bigger problem. And that's why Taradale down there, and I see it down there, Taradale there with their stop bank got into all sorts of difficulties. So I'm just wondering if you have got the professionals. I'm not an engineer, but everybody's an engineer in their own way. Yes, I am. That's my son at the back of me. But I do look at a job, and you're great engineers. You talk about so much. Whatever you're moving, there's machinery to do the job. You don't get a little machine. You don't send the boy out to do a man's job. You get a big machine to go and do a man's job. So that's my next excuse. And I don't believe I'll support my son when he says, don't take him 6 to 8 hours to open the wire apart. Not fun. And if it's telecommunication or, I know you guys coming in, you've got to pay. What took so long? Because all this flooding at Corporate Road, I'm sure they'll all agree, could have been avoidable. And it cost a lot of money. Now, if you're talking about money and funding this, funding that, we could have had it all. But we're busy fixing our houses up. we're fixing all the roads up, ongoing. Yeah, I just support my son, but you're the man, I told you that last night. You've been commissioned here to sort it all out, so good luck with that. That's my input, but I thank you again for all the residents here that total with it. Come on.
Kia ora tātou, I'm James Beattie, I'm a resident on Korpuru Road. This is probably a question for Steve, Mr. Fetish. I assume this is the case, but just for clarity, is the flood mitigation in terms of the stop banks along Korpuru Road cognizant of the Gabriel event and also the June 24 event coming from the opposite direction? And coupled with that, is this taking into account 1C if that goes through?
Yeah, hi James, and a very good question. The answer is yes, we've taken into account the modelling of 1C and for Gabriel, and also what happened with Kopu. So we have taken those into account, definitely. Just following on from what the gentleman spoke about with talking to locals, getting that local information and flavour, I'm 100% behind that. What we've put up is just some initial modelling. If this project gets advanced, we will be sitting down with locals and looking at the layout, how that stop bank, if that's the preferred option, how it will actually flow, what are the main things to take into account. So you've got that from me and Lawrence. I think you'll have that definitely from the Crown Manager. It's not just going to be engineers putting stuff on paper and saying that's it. It'll be sitting down with locals and finding out what is the flavour of that river, the land, the river reserve, the road reserve, where is the best place to actually put it out. So I'll give you that assurance now.
Thank you.
Kia ora guys, I'm Murray Roberts. I've come all the way from Hawara because my house is on Korpuru Road. I'm 58 years old. That river has never crossed the road. It crossed the road in June. I was back, Lynn, and I'm thankful. Gabriel, that broke my heart for our people, and I felt for North Clyde. In June, we got hit, but I'm thankful North Clyde never got hit again. And what you say about that bar, I said, why don't they blow that friggin' bar up? I evacuated, it killed me to evacuate my home, even though I live in Hawara, that's my home. And that killed me, and I thought my mother was watching me because it got up to my steps, but it never went into my house. My people down the road on my left side, my right side, they got affected. I felt for them. Never ever. We went out, it was coming this way, it was coming from the beach, and it was coming from the back. But when I say that, I went, why did they blow that friggin' bar? So I hope we take note and get this right for our people. And I mean all our people, North Clyde, the south side. But I just wanted to stand up and say, we wanted to come back for this because I wanted to just have a little say. But you just think of our people. I always say that in the Taranaki, my people back home. Because home is home. We come back every 4-5 months. This is our whenua. And we always come home. But June, it broke my heart, it broke my husband. We were supposed to stay in Napier that night. We shot through, and lucky we did, because we were here at that time. Okay guys, I just wanted to say that.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Lawrence. My question is, when you say you want to communicate with the locals, who do you necessarily mean the locals? Is it the locals that are just along Korpuru Road, or is it the locals, our community, our whole whānau? Because when it came to 1C option, you said you communicated with our community, but you didn't. You communicated with those property owners and land owners that were being affected in those options. I'm not a landowner and option C directly affected, but I do have whānau whenua over there. Takitumu is my marae. The spillway comes out opposite my whānau home. So that's my question is, when you talk about communicating with the locals, who are the locals that are in your pocket?
Okay, so there's two ways, well, two ways that I look at it like that. The setting up of 1C was done from community input and then from a stakeholder group of a mixed group of people that refined those options. Once we got down to the options, two of them, then we had direct negotiations with the landowners, and the regional council has made an in-principle decision that it's going with 1C. But for the next 3 months, for 1C as well, we're going to have a broader community conversation with the public about the benefits of 1C and what it can do for Wairoa and particularly North Clyde. In terms of this option, Kopu Road, Namutu Road, the Bar, we will want to set up a group of people that can look at the options. They will mostly be the people that are involved around those areas, but we will have to have a bigger conversation with the public as well, particularly because at the moment there's not enough money to do this. So if it's going to require public money from the regional council or the Crown or anybody else, we're going to have a conversation with the public to be really sure this is what we want to do, and that will be a much broader conversation.
Because, you know, it's not only that whānau along Kopu Road that live that part of the awa. You know, it's all of us. There's so many people that live on that part of the awa, that's their kai source, everything. So it's not just about, it affects all of us.
I agree. I'm not deliberately trying to shut down how people get involved. I just know that the first primary point of concern for me is to look after the people who get flooded in the June event, to see what we can do to give them some surety that won't happen again. Accepting that there's a whole lot of other interests in the awa and how it's used, as a food source, it's Maui, all those things. So I'm not trying to shut that down. I just know that my job from the Crown is to try and prevent what happened in June happening again.
Yeah.
Kia ora, I am a Kopu Road resident, living young. So we talk about the June event. My property has been affected by flooding on 4 occasions before the June event. I guess, thank you Lawrence for the work you're doing, pumping this through and trying to progress work. Really appreciate that because despite all the concerns raised for a number of years, the taringas haven't been switched on at Regional Council, and that is now coming at our community's cost. So that insurance policy about opening the bar and having that there, that's our cost community. The fact that our properties are all flooded, it's now our insurance premiums and our inability to potentially in future get insurance, that's our cost community. So Regional Council, my words to you is I want to be on that steering committee and open your ears and listen.
Kia ora koutou. Last August, the big sort of regional council report card said very clearly what is spent on protecting assets should reflect the value of the assets. So is this not the time to put that into practice with North Clyde, P2, the bar, and see that the value that government or whoever might put back somehow reflects the value of all those combined assets? Because the report made it really clear. Regional Council received that report, their eyes were watering, it was all on their Facebook, So why are we doubtful that we will get the resourcing we want to get?
Okay, if I'm really candid about it, the Regional Council did a really good job getting $70 million for North Clyde in a very short period of time. Probably, if the events happen now, I'm not sure the government would be as generous. So what we've got to do is realise we've got 70 million. We need to optimise how we spend it to give the best level of protection we can. We need to work out, one, if there's any money left over from that, can it be used in Kopu Road or the Bar or Namutu? If there's not any money left over it, what is the optimum thing we can do to minimise the flood risk on the lower reaches of the river? And as I stand here tonight, I can't tell you whether that is building a groin option, whether it's that is building some sort of stop banking option, but we need to work that through together. Once we've decided what we think is the best option, and if we said that's going to cost 15 million, then we have a thing to deal with. We need to find 15 million. We can't actually work out what we need to do until we've agreed as a community what the best option is, and then work out how we fund it. And that involves a technical solution, that involves understanding all the cultural aspects. And I'll say to people, a lot of people have told me, and last night I was told very clearly, and I accept this, that the lower reaches of the river, down by the bar, have a lot more sediment in them than they used to have.
Yes.
And yes, it gets, I've been told that it gets flushed out to an extent on big events, but it may be some technical dredging or things like that at the lower end to support the direction of the water to the bar might actually be some things we need to consider. And all that needs to be brought together, so as a community we say, we think this is the best solution. And so I get you, I'm not trying to be driven by money, I'm just realistic about what the money sources are, how difficult they are. Our job is, as a community, with my support and with Regional Council support, is to try and come up with the best solution that we can, that's affordable, and convince others that it needs to be funded and supported. That's really my next piece of work after North Clyde.
Kia ora, Lawrence. Just a couple of questions, possibly going to be a yes or no, really. But in terms of all of this, are these going to be posted up on the website?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Rima Lakumara says that you get paid quite a lot for this job, but I get kind of ticked off that the pronunciation of Namutu, please make sure that you pronounce that properly, and Kopu Road.
Kopu Road, I thought I got sorted.
But I've been coming to all your meetings now for a while, and when you refer to we, this all seems to be. Tell us what your decisions are. I think the community, both Māori and non-Māori, have been abundantly clear that we have been left out of many processes, consultation, because from November, a lot of us just found out about all the options that were put through. Were put for the wildflood mitigation project. They are a PhD. The members of Tapo Tapo, we never gave our Te Rangatira Pānga over to Tapo Tapo to speak for us, especially when it comes to Mangpirua. So in terms of all the holistic cultural aspects of all this modelling, on the proposed, on the preferred option being 1C, there's not much dollar or even give or take from the tripartite to the actual people. I mean, we say a lot of things, but it never ever gets listened to. And I take for example that lady over there, she said it, and taking over here in this dead state, We say a lot of things, give you feedback, and what have you, but does it really sink in? And just to FYI, when it comes to all the insurance stuff, I actually put that to my submission to the Hawke's Bay Regional Council the plan last year, and it was in June, I believe. And so, come on, we are not done, we're pretty clear clued up, and when it comes to cultural stuff, are you really going to involve our people? Really? Or is it just a selected few?
Okay, the thing I want to comment on, and I've made it abundantly clear in other meetings, and I accept that some of you did not like the reason for it. We had 18 options to look at. We made a decision not to talk publicly about those 18 options until we got nearer the last 5 or the last 2 particularly. The reason for that is we did not want to upset 18 lots of people with an option that went through their house or their land if there was no chance it was ever going to happen. That was a deliberate decision that was made. I supported it, and some people don't like it. But this is slightly different. This is, in this case, there are clearly some options. There are stop banking options, generally in the alignment we're talking about. There is something we can do at the bar somewhere, or there potentially is something you could do in the river at small strategic dredging. We're not talking about big areas of difference. This is the ability to manage this particular issue is quite defined in the area. So I think it's going to be different. Do I have a preconceived ideas about who should be involved and how should they work? No, I don't. Tātou is a part of the tripartite agreement. Now, a decision was made by the councils to use that tripartite agreement to govern this project. That wasn't my decision, that was a decision made by those people. I'm not sure what other process there is, and while that is a decision-making body that's been set up post the treaty settlement, that arrangement. So you need to take up that with those people. It's not really my gig.
Good point.
Okay. Yes, fully.
I'm sorry, I've just come out of the hospital.
Nice to see you.
I have not been to any meeting, but people have come to me with their concern. Today I have heard that Tātou is speaking for the people. Tātou does not speak for the people, the Hapu speaks for the people. We must take that responsibility. I don't care what the council thinks. They need to really look at what they're doing about this whole thing. If they go to the people, then they give the results. I have been told many Hapu would agree with what you're doing. That Tātou is going to take us to court. Now, if this is so, why is Tātou blackmailing this? Because if the people speak, then they go to Tātou and tell them what they want. And this is what this meeting I thought was about. Being honest and coming together. You know, the rain's not going to stop tonight. Might even be another blow tonight. But the longer that we sit and talk about it, I think we're in danger. And the gentleman up the front row that spoke, they understand what it is to live in the place with damaged water. It's time that we back off the group saying they speak for the people. It's time the council listen to the people. And your job, Mr. Yule, is to get the extra money. That's your job, and I should tell the government. Because it's no good starting a job with half time money. And that's what I'm seeing now. 70 million you're given to finish half the job. That's not fair to the people. It's all right for us to just not in the way of the water. But if you have water coming in your door, that affects everybody in this town. So that's what I've got to say. Thank you.
Can I just say, thank you, can I just say that my negotiations and discussions are with the landowners. Okay? I keep Tato informed, but they are with the landowners. And more recently, Tato have been very public and on record to say that it is an individual whānau decision as to whether their land is used or not. By Tato will support them in getting that decision. I don't think Tato actually now is speaking on behalf of the landowners. It is publicly said that the landowners can decide, and that is absolutely where my discussions and negotiations are occurring. Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, sorry.
Kind of involved all around, got flooded at Polkai and my whānau in Ngāmotu as well. So, sometimes I don't know what to say because for us who have been flooded, we're still not all fixed up yet. You know, I just had a kōrero with my mokopana and she goes sometimes, she said, Nan, what, are you alright? No, I just want to scream sometimes. I don't know if anybody knows the real answer. That's the truth. I don't think any of us in here could say what is the right answer. But what I do know is part of that right answer is listening to the people like our local ones. You know, I respect all those clever people from out of town, but we're the ones who are impacted. So, you know, I kind of, you know, a bit suspect about some things that have happened by other people who have advised, and it's happened all around our country and in the world where experts have come into play. So I guess for me, you know, I'm looking, I'm going, oh my gosh, I didn't get any indication that was happening at Ngāmotu, but I'm one of the landowners. So I'm not sure who was meant to contact me or not, except somebody just let me know, a whānau. So I guess that, you know, you said that you want to talk to the people, and the people want to be heard. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing all along. It feels like we've not really been heard. You listen to us, but you go away and you make up your mind in your own way and say, well, I think they said this. Oh, I'm not sure what you say actually, the truth is. But you come up with something else. One thing I'm really certain about, whatever the result is, we want it better for our mokopanas, because we don't want them to be standing in this place in 30 years' time, or my children. So we do have to get it the best, whatever we can, but we have to do it together. But I don't think our local whānau people, community, have said all they needed to say or felt that they have really been listened to, and we've lived through it, Lawrence, several times. My mum's been in 2 floods, Auntie Davey and others have been in 3, you know, so they've lived through it. Several times I've heard Pirihira say, say some things. I just want to know where they're, you know, things that they've said, where has it made a difference to those knowledgeable people? That's what I'm saying, because I've heard all of the kōrero through the past, how long it's been. I just think people are still talking, so that to me it seems like they haven't been heard enough. Even though we've had these public meetings, something's not working for us to do it together. I mean, at the end of the day, Barney, we've got to do it all together. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't even know what the answer is. Some of us sit home saying, what the heck? Is this better? Is that better? That whānau's happy because it's not their land now, but it's somebody else's land and it's going to impact on some of our marae. I sat the other day with somebody in a hui and they said, oh, well, it's not really us because we didn't get flood. I went, hey, that's our marae. Hey, that's our whānau, whenua, you know, our other whānau. So whatever it is, and like I said, I've just been through so many meetings, I don't know if this is the right one, but what I do know is people are unhappy. But I want to ask our people to leave tātou out of it.
Yeah.
They have clearly said, very clearly said, they are not speaking on behalf of us. But some of us seem to have this other thing they get hooked into.
That's right.
They have clearly stood out of that tripartite and said, no, it's up to those whānau, those hapu, those iwi. So let's make sure along the way, while we're doing this journey to find out what's the best for us, that we don't bring up things that are unnecessary anymore, because we've heard it so many times, and some of us, I guess, they get a bit raw, but others are still coming along, and maybe I'm not as patient as everybody. But kia ora tātou, we've got to find a way, that's all. I don't know what the way is, but we've got to find one, but we've got to find it together. You know, I'll be honest, I don't trust the regional, after that last flooding in June, I don't trust you. You let us down badly. You let us down badly, and that should never have happened. Never. So why should I trust you now? Why?
Very good question. I just wanted to, kia ora tātou, my name's Dorothy and I'm the Councillor for Wairoa for the Regional Council. I just, if with your blessing, I'll just retrack how we got to be handing the governance of the North Clyde project over to the tripartite. The responsibility for the flooding and flood mitigation across any region is the Regional Council. Yep. The Regional Council was very successful in going to the Wellington, yep, and coming home with the $70 million. At that point, the Regional Council could have managed it from there, but there was an absolute commitment that that would not be the right thing to do. So the decision was made right about then that this decision of what was going to be a complex and difficult path needed to sit here in Wairoa. There was also a balance between it needed to happen as quickly as we could. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to start a new organisation, so that's where we went straight to the tripartite as an already established legal entity between Tangata Oti Wairoa, Wairoa District Council and Hawke's Bay Regional Council. Now that entity already existed, so it seemed to be a sensible, a quick and efficient way to move forward. However, that committee actually are not involved in the project as such. Straight away it went to the people. Within the first week, or very quickly in the early days, we had meetings on site at different marae, gathering people's thoughts, getting that local intel, including what other people had in their minds for what the solutions might be. And then we put together a group of local people, that was the stakeholder group, and that included people from the business community, different whānau who were directly impacted, right across the North Clyde as a focus, and they came together and they worked with the engineers to toss around those whole 18, was more than 18, with the different A, B, C versions of each one. So they worked really hard in that space, and that was incredibly difficult, and they did that for about 8 months. And Lawrence was the chair of that group. And so on behalf of the people that were on their shoulders, they were wrestling with those really difficult options and discounting them. They were also requesting reports from different engineers, from different experts, and joining those up with their beliefs. And their job was really to put a values lens over engineers' work, and engineers saying, well, this could work, and local farmer going, are you mad? That's really important, we're just not doing it, off the table. And that was kind of the process. I wasn't involved in that because I'm not a stakeholder. The governance, which is the tripartite, which is where Taratara sit, we just got reports. Lawrence would come every few months and say this is where the group are up to, and just that was really that it was an oversight, and that's our responsibility. So as far as right from the get-go, there has been a deep commitment to whānau, to landowners, to property owners having complete say and laying their values over any decisions right from the start, all the way through, and that's been incredibly difficult, but incredibly valuable. And actually, when we turn our minds to what may happen, and it's very much in May that we've seen tonight, I'll be very keen to follow a similar path. We've learned a lot of lessons along the way, but there will be an invitation for interested people to join in that. Particularly, you cannot have it's really difficult to have a proper debate with hundreds, thousands of people. So some people will need to come with the minority of people on their shoulders and represent and feed that back. So that's my aspiration.
Finally, this is Di Rodley. She's our rep here, our general rep here for the Hawke's Bay Regional Council.
The second thing, Libby, I did want to, kia ora, and thank you for raising it about the insurance. The councils don't manage insurance. The insurance issue is national. It started skyrocketing after the Christchurch earthquakes, after Cyclone Gabriel, after flooding in Westport. Insurance has got absolutely out the gate. There's very little we can do about insurance. However, there is the opportunity for you to reach out if you're having problems with insurance, whether obtaining insurance because of the flooding or because of your classification if you're still sitting in 2C. You can reach out to the Regional Council, and there is a pathway there through the New Zealand Insurance Council. So I'll just extend that to
Kia ora, Di, thank you for that. I more meant that because of Hawke's Bay Regional Council's management of their assets, we flooded in November 2023, we flooded in May 2024, and we flooded in June 2024. So, that all builds a picture because of Hawke's Bay Regional Council's inability to listen to our concerns about the bar and the management of the river. And as a result, we're the ones that now have higher insurance premiums because of Regional Council's previous management and inability to listen to the people. So that was my point, that those costs are now additional, other than the risk profile that Insurance Council used, there is now history of us flooding because of Hawke's Bay Regional Council's management of their assets and their decision making. So that is our case.
Could I just answer Libby how incredibly sad I am about that? But this does look like a pathway forward. It does feel a long way out of reach at the moment, but it is a pathway. And I'm really pleased with the progress that we've made around the management of the bar and the new plans and the input that the community have had into those plans for the management, and my absolute heartfelt wish is that that will be more effective. We are never going to be 100% safe from nature, whether it's water coming from behind us up in the catchment, or whether it's water incoming off the sea. But by gosh, we'll do our damnedest to get it right, and I feel like we're on a good pathway to do that.
You want to talk to me on the one question here, and then we're going to move to here before I move anywhere else.
Just a couple of questions. Yeah, sure. Where do you get your figures on knowing that how much of the 70 million is already going to the spillway actually estimated those costs.
Where do I get my figures from?
Yeah.
So there is.
Is that going to be made public?
Not yet.
Because I'm wondering why you fellas got these figures and most of it's going to the spillway when it hasn't even been tendered out yet for the works that it.
No, there's just been cost estimates done.
Cost
It hasn't yet. So
So
unit rates.
so you're not actually educating the community properly on your cost estimates where the money's actually going, whereas where you can have money left over where it should be going.
Yes, what we're saying is within the envelope, the current costings of 1C are around 54 million, and there is a required 35% contingency on top of that, which is about 16 million. We get to 70. Now, whether in fact, that's roughly, whether in fact we can build it from 54, if we could, great, there will be money left over.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to search or put this out so you can actually?
No, we haven't tendered it yet, but we have had
Are you
significant.
going to tender as
Yes,
well?
yes.
Oh, cool. The other thing that I want to ask too is with this money, do we fix what's broken already before going forward?
By what do you mean?
What I'm saying is like, you got Scott saying like, we build a dike, okay? How are we going to get the water out if it's in?
Yeah.
Okay, you can't get the water out before the levels are up.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Wairoa at the moment, it's flooding just from rain. Because all our infrastructure is up. Okay, but all these incidents, yet the council themselves have not put on one-way gate systems on all their culverts to stop the water coming back up, which would have helped Libya in the house and even the street from flooding. Something basic like that, I think money should be just put into common logical sense.
No, so absolutely. So what Wairoa District needs to do in terms of managing its stormwater network behind the scenes, that needs to be upgraded as well. And they've got a review of that underway by WSP.
Isn't that not part of flood mitigating?
It is.
Okay, so money should be going to what's broken first before going to where it should be spent.
Yes, except there's different funders for different things. So I know it sounds all very boring, but the Wairoa District Council, your ratepayers, the same ratepayers, are responsible for the stormwater network. The Hawke's Bay Regional Council, same ratepayers but a different entity, is responsible for the river and drainage management. What I'm trying to do is make sure that both entities get the stuff done that's right, that makes the biggest difference. But ultimately, you are going to pay for that and your rates. And what we've got to do is to make sure we do what is best and most efficient to get that outcome. And you and I haven't always agreed at the front. We haven't always agreed. But what I would say I agree with, I don't know what to do here either. Okay? I don't know what the answer is. I'm saying that there are some solutions. Groins, stop banks, dredging, I don't know the answer. But we need to optimise what we think the best solution is, what's fundable and affordable, and what can be technically done. And without doing that, we're going to go nowhere. We're going to be here in 2 years' time. Nothing would have done. The biggest change we've made is given a more proactive groin management, bar management at the moment. But in terms of anything more, that needs to be worked out.
What about the pre-preventing, like all the wood and all that?
Oh, yeah.
You go for a drive up 35. Yeah, because you can see everything.
The wood debris issue is an issue.
Yes.
But to fix that is quite a long-term solution. So work has been done on whether in fact you afforested the whole of the catchment. Just part of the whole catchment.
What's already collapsing at the moment.
Yeah, so
if
stop.
you do all this and you don't fix up there, and that comes all the way down, what's that?
So Chris might want to talk about what you're doing in terms of management of the poplars and things. Just so people know, the damage that was done and the backing up that was done in Cyclone Gabriel was predominantly from willows and poplars from former flood protection works. It was not from forestry slash. You had whole trees, because at the time, it was a big thing to do, plant willows everywhere, those cracked willows you've seen them, then they get old and they fall over and the whole roots fall over and then they get moved and they can't hit a bridge and they just don't go anywhere. So it wasn't forestry here. It might have been up the coast, but it wasn't here.
It added to it though.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So is any money going to pre-preventing that?
Not out of the 70 million, no. that is a responsibility of the regional council to manage that. Yeah, do you want to talk about this?
So just in terms of funding, overall, as a behavioural response for silt and debris, I think there's over 200 million has been put into dealing with those issues across the region. And there's still more money to spend in Wairoa, and it's precisely for dealing with silt and collecting up that dead wood that's collecting around the place so it doesn't remobilise. So there's been an absolute massive effort, 100% funded through the Crown.
I think that's something you should document, take and put out towards the public, because I've been asked that quite a lot of locals. Just a bit too, we've done that, you have to call it clearing all the poplars out there, all that reason is coming.
Okay. Question over here.
Yeah, kia ora, Hatfield Smith here. My generation was 1,000 years to this place. You know, born here, from here, just moved home, back to Corporal Road, McLean Road. Got flooded this year. Didn't go in my house, but came through. Underneath, we had to replace a lot of floorboards. Right, talking on our side, I'm going to speak on this side, because this is where I got affected. I went down to see it, I just moved down a couple of years ago, so I went and done a bit of research around the farm around where I live. That McLean Street was talking to the locals there. And I said, what do you guys reckon about our side of the bar and all that? And they said to me, they wouldn't mind seeing a permanent bar down there. And then I sort of sat back and had a look at it. And I thought that would be a bloody good idea, because it would open up Wairoa, and essentially all the roads being affected and all that through flood damage. And back in the day, they got old photos where they used to bring the ships in and export out of here. You know, like, you're talking about spending 70 million. Well, just being in business, I'm a businessman, contractor. The government takes 45% of that invoice, so they get most of it back in taxes. So you're cutting that right down. So 70 million shillings, you know, they don't spend it, and they're getting most of it back. So I thought, wouldn't you be better to spend that 70 million down our side, start, unplug the hole, clean the silt out, all the farm that have been here 40 odd years, all the silt up our side is horrendous. It needs to be cleaned. You're talking about putting a stock tank up, is it going to help our side? You know, the drains need sorting out down our way, the culverts, they're all blocked. You can see it when you go to sit a net and walk the silt up to here. And I've been in there, and a lot of the old farmers that have lived there 40 odd years, 50 years, the old farmers, they've never seen it like that before. If that silt hadn't have been there when that last flood come through, we mightn't have had it coming into our houses. This is something to think about. We talk about the scientists and all that, this is cool. You know, we had the scientists saying, oh, build a wee fucking key, build a wheel, well guess what? They're going to pull the bloody thing out because it's no good. Hey, it cost over $1 million to do all that. So scientists and all that, are they the right people? I think we need to talk to the locals a bit more. And most of our side, we wouldn't mind a permanent bar. It'll just open more up for business, I tell you. It'll open them up for export and this and that. You never know, we might have a ship out there parked up. Come around when you do the huckaboogie for them at the right. Just something to think about, Lawrence. But yeah, that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just say that
McLean Street.
the 70 million is specifically allocated to North Clyde to help relieve the pressure from the 280 homes that have been flooded that are currently in Category 2C. And unless we can find a solution for them, they will go to Category 3, where they won't have insurance, they won't be able to get building consents. That is why the government gave the money to look after North Clyde. Okay, that is the priority, that's where the money is going. If there's something left over, we might be able to use it somewhere else. My job, however, is to look at other things, and I've mentioned a permanent groin or that sort of concept to try and keep the bar open. I think it unlikely we're ever going to get a navigational channel back here. People have had serious attempts at trying to do that. the grade of the river has changed, the sea conditions have got more difficult. And if you look at Okotiki, which has done exactly this, it has been a big challenge and is constantly being dredged to be able to stay open. So our concept and Gary's concept is that you actually have a training groin which keeps the water to keep it open, not for navigation purposes, but to keep the bar open and lower the level of the river so that it doesn't flood the lower reaches. That's the concept. Yes.
Kia ora, Tata. My name is Arthur Blake. I've been living in Cove Road for the last 70 odd years, so I've seen a few floods come and go. I'd like to support the gentleman on the right here with his suggestion, and I would like also to support a groin down in the bar coming off the corner before Pilot's Hill. I know you got no money for it, but I think it would be wise to try and establish at least one solid wall beyond the seashore. I've been down South Island, I've seen the Greytown outlet, and they've got water that goes straight out, and they've got real decent rock flood banks on each side.
Sure.
And looking at the town on the top of the flood banks down in Greymouth, the city is lower than the river. And they've managed to keep that water going straight out without flooding their town. I think we can do the same thing here, but of course finance is a problem. But that's what I'd like to support, it's a groin for the bar, that the water is straight down that river and straight out to sea. During Bowler, the bar was in the centre of the shoreline, and no trouble with water building up, and a terrific amount of water shot straight through that bar with Bowler. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Can I just say, without planning to put him on the spot, I'm not going to. Gary Williams has a lot of experience at Greymouth. He knows it like the back of his hand. So the same person that has designed the drawing here knows all about Greymouth and has been involved in it. So I have a high degree of confidence in what he's designed as a technical solution. It has to be peer reviewed, but I have a high degree of confidence for that reason. 50 years of experience doing this. Yeah. So, how's that, Gary? Yeah. Any other questions? I think we should wrap it up soon.
Yeah, I want a question.
Oh, sorry.
You know, my father taught me one thing. If the drain is blocked, you dig it out. This wild river's the same. You don't talk about dredging it. And this wild river is like a big drain. If you don't dredge that river out, we're always going to have trouble. You know, when the drain is blocked around your home, you get out there and you dig it out. And where I live, I'm digging the drain every day, putting in there when it's raining. This river needs to be dug out with a dredge. It is a dredge up in Gisborne. Get up there and have a look at it and bring it down there and dig it out. You don't dig this drain out, that's what this river is. It's going to happen again. You know the name of this river? It'll tell you. Te Waioro means a lot of water. And it's going to happen all the time. And I appreciate all the rest of the speakers. I offer them. Yeah. But my topic is, you get this river open, dig it out with a dredge, there'll be no more problems. I fish on this river. This river is that shallow with a wild yuck up. When it's high tide, it's up to my waist. Yeah, you get it now, because I'm telling you. I've been right up this river. It needs to be dredged from that railway bridge right up that far end, right out to the bar. And we won't have this problem for the next 200 years. Yeah.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, we did a report. Thank you. We did a report to look at doing that. The cost of that was $920 million. So I accept that there is, at the lower reaches from the yacht club down there is some potential for some strategic dredging. But for the areas further up, For the last 24 years, they've taken samples of where the river is. The sediment in general hasn't changed. It's gone up and down in bits, but the overall sedimentation is the same for the last 24 years. We don't have records before that. It's not to say down here it hasn't changed at the lower end, but it's really not feasible to dredge the whole river. It's not financially affordable. Nobody can pay for it. So I'm sorry, but I can't actually recommend that as even a realistic option. Ben.
Oh, kia ora. I am Ngāwai Smith. Now we've heard a lot about people. The only thing about the two councils is that everything's mainstream. You haven't got a close relationship to what I'm talking about with the bird. You know, you're saying, but the government gave it for this. Well, hey, we tell the government where it should go, not the government tell us. So I think it's very important to get the not the spillway, because I'm dead against that. Get the river done. Support those people. Now, I've just been doing a little bit of 40 war and stuff with the Turu Whenua Act, the preamble, which I'm going to ask Murray to read it. And this is because, I'm sorry Murray, I'm picking on you. This is because it protects us. This protects us from the spillway. So we go to the Māori Land Court and get that sussed, then I know that we're going to be heard. So the Crown shouldn't tell us where the money should be spent. That's our money. We tell them where it should be spent. Murray, please.
You're not close.
No,
Close.
if you're close after you read that.
Yeah, close.
Oh no, well, give me mine.
No, I'm going to close it up.
Oh, cool.
Oh. Once I've read what Alice has asked me to read.
One last quick, yeah.
It's not yet, there is a question. I've got 3 comments to this question. I see during the last meeting standing for Warrell District Council, the comments about the culvert at Sturdy Street and Corporate Road can't be any more real and urgent. The Libby's house has flooded multiple times, the Singles house because of that culverting issue, and I'm not sure when all this flood mitigation is going to take place, but that really does need sorting. It creeps up close to my house as well, and that's just...
What number is it? 33, you said?
No, so it's probably closer to 66 Korpu. In fact, it's the corner of Sturdy and Korpu. It's disastrous. It's a culverting issue. I'm sure someone will be able to put that somewhere. Not necessarily related, but I'm conscious that we've got regional council here tonight. I'm, like the rest of the community, got a growing concern about the amount of erosion across those assets at the front of our community, being the community centre, our skate park and our destination playground. I drive over the bridge every day coming back from Gisborne from work, and it's any day now that's all going to fall in, so I'm not sure what you're doing with that. I know it's not necessarily related, but it is about erosion. One comment, and I'm not sure if others have felt this in the room, I'm not sure where the name Korpu Road weather event come from. And I don't want that to necessarily set in from my perspective. Absolutely, Korpu Road was affected in June last year, but there were lots of other people and properties affected beyond Korpu Road. Maybe a more apt description might be the Wairau River Bar event or something like that. But there are people in here who were affected in that event that come from McLean Street, Upper 2 Street, Scott Street, Jellicoe. Like, needs to be a bit more thinking about that. I'm not sure where that name come from. And my only question is, now, will the people who are impacted by 1C be fairly compensated for their properties, and will their compensation be a reflection of the market value before Gabrielle? I'm just very conscious, we've recently had our QV valuations for a number of people, and people have lost like $100,000 wiped off their properties overnight. I know that I don't know what North Clyde looks like, but I've got friends and whānau on this side, and that's exactly what's happened. So will they be fairly compensated?
They will be fairly compensated, and they will be compensated at the value that they be for Cyclone Gabrielle.
Thank you.
James's query about the rain event that happened in June. The official name for that is 26 June rain event.
Okay.
Just to be clear with you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Oh, Pauline, sorry.
I heard Getting down to after 18 years of age, I have seen Mariah shifted because of the danger. They've shifted the Mariah. And I think if Mariah has to be shifted, then so be it, because we have to look at what is needed to do. No, and I'm a shareholder.
Yeah, so the question is, Mariah's can't be shifted.
I accept they can be. We made a decision that we think we can avoid Marae and options to deal with North Clyde, and we made that decision to do so. So I'm not regretting that, because I still think we have viable options. It's not just the Marae, Irapa, a lot around Irapa, there's a lot of unmarked graves. So we deliberately made a decision to avoid those places, and I stand by that. But I accept we could have moved them if we really wanted to, but we sought a more culturally sensitive option to avoid them, and I'm happy with that.
If you need a my opinion of what I've seen of my treatment of the cup, if the grave has to be moved, the bones go back in.
Yep.
If the Mariah fell, so be it, because it, look at, you only have to look up the East Coast Monitor twice.
Sure.
So anybody who says you can't do it,
No, I accept that. Yep.
and I'd like to thank regional council for all they've done. And just remember there was a blockade and that representative came.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, Mary?
Can I just quickly say something? Sorry, I
Sorry,
had my
yeah.
hand up before.
You did. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to quickly respond to Di Roadley. I was a yellow placard on North Clyde, and I sat in our school staff room, and I listened to a daughter of one of our staff members say, I'm off to a hui, and I said, oh, what are you going to? A stakeholders hui. I said, what's that for? And then I was told by someone who wasn't in the floods that she was going to speak in the flood mitigation group. I knew nothing about it. I'm hearing it from somebody else who lives on the side of the river, who was going in a stakeholders group. So I said, well, who represents me? And she said, I'll catch you later, I've got to go to the hui. So when you say that everybody was involved, I still don't know who represented the homeowners, but I lived for nearly 2 years in somebody else's house while my house was flooded, and had to wait and fight insurance and look after a palliative care father and a girl who lost her boyfriend 2 days, or father of her children 2 days after the flood. So I went into tangi mode and then had to try and run a school, and then had New Haka school. So when you sit there and you say that we all were involved,